What's more important, guys? Your popularity or your ranking? I want to hear it from you. Now, I don't want you to just tell me from a fan perspective. I want you to follow the golden rule of life, which is you put yourself in somebody else's shoes. How would you want to be treated? So right now, you're in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. You can be wildly popular compared to the field, or you can be ranked higher than the field. Which one do you want? And I'll leave that to you as a personal question. This sport is very much pass-fail. I was ranked number 2 in the world simultaneously by Sports Illustrated and ESPN for 3 straight years. That had never been done. I've also never mentioned it to you. And if I was not attempting to prove a point right now, I still would not be mentioning it to you. I do not have those press clippings. I could not tell you the year. I don't have that cut out and on my wall. I will never share that with my grandchildren. It should be something that I should be proud about that. Number 2 in the world for 3 straight years by the 2 major publications, but it's just not how our sport works, right? If it was the Olympic Games, you come in top 3. If it was the NCAA, you come in the top 8. For world championships, it's pass or fail. You were the champion or you weren't. There is no I was number 2 when this guy was number 4. Did you fight him? Did you beat him? Otherwise, zip it. It's one of those things. So what would you rather be, more popular or higher ranked? Think of the top 10 guys at Paddy the Baddy's weight. Think of the top 10 guys, of which Paddy's not one. You don't know what they make, but you've got a feel for it. Would you rather have their paycheck or would you rather have Paddy's? Would you rather have their sponsors and their media opportunity and their recognition, or would you rather have Paddy's? Now, we're seeing this play out right now at 135 pounds. Chito Vera is the most dangerous guy. I believe he's ranked number 3. I disagree with that. He should be the number 1 contender. I firmly believe that. He's beaten not 1 but 2 world champions. He didn't only beat them, he stopped them. Frankie Edgar will be in the Hall of Fame someday. Dominic Cruz will be in the Hall of Fame someday. Generally in this sport, if you beat a former champion, which is hard to do, there's not a lot of them floating around, not to mention they're pretty good. If you beat one, you get to fight for a world championship. He beat a world champion and he got to fight another former world champion. I mean, it's one of these things. Chito should be the number 1 contender. I believe he's ranked number 3. But who do you think's in a better position? Chito Vera or Sean O'Malley with the win over Yan? It appears pretty clear, not only to all of us, but also to the guys in the division. If Sean O'Malley defeats Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley will be fighting for the world championship. Dillashaw understands that. Sterling understands that. I believe that Chito understands that. So would you rather have the ranking or would you rather have the popularity? Which do you think you can do more with? Which do you think will blow the winds when it comes down to politicking in the war room in your favor? What should Chito Vera be doing right now? Chito came out last night. He did an interview. I picked it up this morning with my coffee. He weighed in on the fight of Yan and Suga Sean, but he didn't quite make a prediction. He was talking about Sean, and he always takes little shots at Sean. Now, good reason for that, which is precisely what I'm discussing. Chito Vera should be the number 1 contender, but Sean O'Malley's the one in the number 1 contenders match. Oh, by the way, Sean O'Malley, prior to the reversal of the Sugar State Athletic Commission, had a win. I apologize, a loss to Chito, and it was his only loss. Chito has the right to be annoyed. Chito has the right that Sean appealed it to the Sugar State Athletic Commission. That in and of itself has a degree of unsportsmanship. Like, I could not fault Chito in the least. But what would you do if you're in Chito's spot? I had a friend tell me Chito should be picking Suga Sean. He should be hoping Suga Sean wins. And my friend's reasoning was, if he does, and then Sean goes to fight for a title and wins the title, boom, here's Vera, waiting right here I'm the guy that beat you. Boom, here's Vera's title shot. I don't know that I disagree with that, but I also just ate up a calendar year. For Chito Vera or anybody else to beat 3 guys in that weight class, you beat 3 guys in a row in that weight class. I realize he already has, but now that's going to be, 5, 6, 7 in a row. I mean, it's just hard to do. It's very rare. You're going to have to beat 3 more guys in one of the toughest divisions there are to get a shot at a world title, who in the scenario I just gave you would be held by a guy Chito beat. Or Chito steps in front of it right now. Cheers for Suga Sean. Suga Sean wins and Chito says, yes, I've got my opportunity. Whoa, what do you mean you've got your opportunity? Why just one? I just beat him by proxy. Obviously, they're not going to give the shot to a guy that I beat before they give it to me. Thank you very much. When should I see you and where's my contract? That would be one angle. I don't know that that would hold up. That would be one angle. But I do think it's better for Chito if a guy Chito beats continues to have success. I do think that. The other side of this specific situation we're looking at is I don't believe Yan is going to go into a world title fight if Sterling remains champion. I don't believe that. So it does leave you with, what do I do? If we eliminate Suga Sean and Yan isn't even in the running because of the parity, boom, Chito comes right in. Possibility. Things are all possible. But there's a pretty good chance that you got lost in what I just said. I mean, in all fairness, it gets a little bit complex, which is why it's so important to be hammering these stories home. Why it's so important right now that Chito, come on. Chito's the number 1 contender, for goodness sakes. Doesn't mean he's going to get the fight. And I don't love the idea of how the rankings are done. I have always had a resistance to the ranking. Now, I've only had a resistance because I was in the room the day we were told there's going to be rankings. I was hosting a program. It was the number 1 program in our sport at that time. In fairness, it was the only program on television that covered our sport. It was called UFC Tonight. Kenny Florin and I were hosting this. The producers came and told us we're going to do rankings. Now, this was great news. This was exciting. We were going to build a graphic. We were going to put it on the screen. Then we were going to debate it. It was going to create controversy. The most controversial thing in the world is where people judge other people. It's never fair. It's a talking point. It's great for guys like Kenny and I who have a program. We're talking heads and words must come out of our mouth. It's a great jumping off point. Which is the whole reason that it was formed. It would also put us in line with other sports. Every sport that is recognized in this world has a ranking system. We needed to do it. I appreciated that, but the corruption that came with that by the fighters finding reasons to turn down fights, finding reasons to say no, and hanging their hat on the argument of rankings. To watch people refuse to fight Khamzat Chimaev because he wasn't ranked. He didn't have the experience. Here I am at number 4. How dare them bring me this guy that's not even ranked? I mean, just by example. So it always irritated me to some degree. Now, I also think that the fans' opinions should matter. I haven't seen enough times. I haven't seen it enough times to corrupt the pool, where the most popular fighters in order aren't also the top and the best fighters in order. I have seen it. We might be seeing it right now. I don't know just how good Suga Sean is. I mean, that's largely what this is going to be about with this former champion. Just how damn good is Suga Sean? We're going to get that tested, but in fairness, if you look at the rankings right now and you compare that to Chito Vera, and we're looking at Sean to be the heir apparent with a victory to go on to fight for the crown, top 10 rankings. I mean, how do you do this? Today, you go, wow, this guy's record and this finish, or this guy fought this guy, or here's a common opponent. I mean, right, it's something like this, which has never been explained. It doesn't have career criteria, which seeds do. In fairness, just so you understand, seeds do. If you're going to any kind of a tournament, all of the head coaches will get it. Doesn't matter if it's football, doesn't matter if it's baseball, basketball, wrestling, what I came from. The coaches will all get in a room and they will lay out their argument and then they will put the seeds in the bracket. You're the 1 seed, you're the 2 seed, you're the 3 seed. So it's their job to bring up, no, wait, we beat this guy over the North Plains. Hey, wait, these two haven't matched up head-to-head for 3 years, but when they did, and you start laying out the argument. But there's a clear criteria of what they must go through. There's a clear criteria where head-to-head competition trumps everything else, but when was that competition? But that criteria is still laid out. We don't have that for the rankings. We do not have a clear criteria. If you and I have never fought, but we have a common opponent and you beat him in 1 minute and I beat him by a decision, should you then be ranked in front of me? Because if so, then it would have to be the same for every single weight class, which of course is not how this fight goes. You could have had a wonderful night with this guy. You could have been getting beat up for 59 seconds, caught him with an uppercut. You still beat him in 1 minute. It took me 15. It's not the same thing. And the criteria and the judges and the ranking officials can weigh that. I don't begrudge that. I don't think that they shouldn't. I'm sharing with you, if we're trying to be in line with our sports and we don't have a clear criteria for what they're looking for, why don't we just go by most popular? What would happen if we did? What would happen if in our top 10 list, we just went with who's the most popular? We could base that on actual numbers. We could come up with an algorithm. We could use Google. I mean, there's ways to verify that. And what would happen? Do you think it would change that much? Now, I'm not making a push, and this isn't the hill that I want to die on, and this isn't my suggestion to our community. I'm just having a conversation with you guys. What would happen if we did? Instead of going 1 through 10 on a criteria that does not exist, which is why it's never been exposed to us, or we just went 1 through 10 on the most popular. Do you think that you guys would pretty much come to the same conclusion? Go give a look to the rankings. You guys know where they are. I make a joke all the time. I don't know where they are. Then somebody always tells me, okay, Chael, how do you not know? It's at UFC.com/your mama's basement. I mean, it's one of these where I still don't know. So why don't you go over there and take a look at a weight class, tell me who the most popular guys are, and then juxtapose that with the rankings. I think you're going to come pretty close. And you would also have a good feel for the politics of it. How would this guy be number 2 if 7, 8, and 9 all beat him? How did he do that? That would be fascinating. How do the fans still want to see him more? It'd be very interesting. But instead of just having to look at the rankings, knowing there's a political side, we would just have that all packaged up into one. Go do me a favor. Go look at the rankings. See where they're at based on skill, based on a criteria that doesn't exist and has never been exposed to us, and then just juxtapose that with your own opinion on who most popular is. And you tell me which list you think is better.